One night, I was involved in a pursuit, and as a matter of fact, there were about six of us that were actually in the pursuit, and there was a couple of other agencies that were involved. And I remember Smokey and the Bandit. Now this is crazy. I remember Smokey and the Bandit, and they had a scene in there where they were trying to get the truckers were talking to the other truckers and telling them to block the road. So that scene came up in my mind where the bandit came up behind the tractor trailers and they all got across the highway and slowed the police officer down who was chasing the bandit. So, because that recounted in my mind, guess what happened? Hey, welcome back. This is Ed with 12 Reacts. Today we're going to be talking about something a little different. Today we're going to talk about public safety. Now, you may wonder, why is public safety so important to talk about? Hey, come on, let's get on with the pursuits. Well, I want to give you some explanations of why public safety is important, why we should learn what we should do during the time of a pursuit, and why the police departments have a vested interest in keeping you safe. So let's get started with that. Why are the departments so concerned about keeping you safe? They're concerned because of the high cost of settlements. Police pursuit related lawsuits can lead to substantial financial settlements or judgments. For example, in 2021, a police department in California paid out 13 million to settle a wrongful death lawsuit after a pursuit ended in a collision, killing innocent bystander. Number two, frequent civil claims. A study by the National Institute of Justice found that 40% of police pursuits resulted in crashes, and many of these led to lawsuits. Plaintiffs often claim negligence in initiating or continuing a high speed pursuit. Number three, third party injuries. Innocent third parties or bystanders or other drivers represent 40 to 50% of fatalities in police pursuits. According to the Bureau of Justice and Statistics, this high casualty rate increases the likelihood of lawsuits. Number four, policy violations. If an officer violates departmental pursuit policies, pursuing for a minor traffic offense, courts are more likely to rule against the department. Plaintiffs often argue that the risk of public safety outweighed the need for the pursuit. And number five, qualified immunity challenges. While police officers may claim qualified immunity in lawsuits, courts have sometimes ruled against officers if they acted recklessly or ignored policies. For example, the U.S. Supreme Court in the county of Sacramento versus Lewis in 1998 found that officers could be held liable if their actions shocked the conscience. Okay, so now we have a little bit of understanding about why police departments are really concerned about pursuits. Look, of course they care about people's lives. It's not about necessarily the money, the lawsuits, and so forth. They really actually do care about the innocent lives that are out there during these pursuits. Okay, so let's move to another thing. Let's move to the public safety aspect. And I want to give you all 5 things that you should do during a pursuit, or if you happen to have a pursuit come towards you. All right, let's look at them. Okay, number 1, stay alert and aware. If you notice flashing lights, sirens, or erratic driving, immediately increase your situational awareness. Check your mirrors and surroundings frequently, especially in high traffic areas or near intersections. Number 2, move out of the way. All right, pull over to the side of the road safely and promptly when you see or hear police vehicles with sirens approaching. Avoid sudden or unpredictable movements that could cause confusions or accidents. Number 3, avoid intersections. This is huge. If you're approaching an intersection during a pursuit, proceed with caution or stop completely. I would advise you to proceed and pull over as soon as possible. Sometimes stopping completely is the wrong move to do. Intersections are common locations for collisions during high speed chases. Number four, do not engage or interfere. Avoid attempting to block or follow the pursued vehicle. Stay far away as possible from the pursuit route and let law enforcement handle the situation. Your involvement could escalate the danger. And just stick with me. I'm going to tell you about a situation that I was involved in and let you understand why we're talking about this. Number five, report from a safe distance. If you witness a pursuit, note any details that might help law enforcement, such as the vehicle description or direction of travel, but only provide information from a safe location. Do not put yourself in harm's way to gather details. Staying calm, cautious, and out of the way is crucial for both your safety and the effectiveness of law enforcement efforts during a pursuit. Now, let me tell you a situation that I got into. I was new, didn't really know any better. This wasn't something that was talked about at the academy. It's not something that was talked about during the training. But one night, I was involved in a pursuit, and as a matter of fact, there were about six of us that were actually in the pursuit, and there was a couple of other agencies that were involved. And I remember Smokey and the Bandit. Now, this is crazy. I remember Smokey and the Bandit, and they had a scene in there where they were trying to get, the truckers were talking to the other truckers and telling them to block the road. So that scene came up in my mind where the Bandit came up behind the tractor trailers and they all got across the highway and slowed the police officer down who was chasing the Bandit. So because that recounted in my mind, guess what happened? When we were involved in a pursuit on the highway, we came upon some trucks, like several of them. And what did I do? I did what I thought was right. I got on my CB and I said, hey, truckers, hey, block the road, block the road. So some of them, kind of slowed traffic down, and I'm glad that they didn't totally block the road. Me and my youngness, I learned from that experience. But they didn't totally block the road. But needless to say, we caught the guy, arrested him. Yes, he was pitted, but arrested him. And then, like the next day when I went back to work, I was told signal 4 means come to post. So my unit number, they called my unit number on the radio. They said, and I said, go ahead. They said, signal 4, authority of, they'll give in the agency of Kentucky State Police, the lower the number, the higher the rank. So they gave like a 2-digit number, like in the teens. And I said, uh-oh. So I wound up going to post, and my supervisor called me into the office, and he said, Ed, he says, we looked at your video last night of the chase. You did a good job, but you cannot involve bystanders. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you can't get on the CB and tell truckers to block the road. And I was like, really? I thought they could help us. And I was 24 years old, just out, hadn't been out of the academy probably 5 months. And I thought it was just one of those things that I could do. And I learned that you never get innocent bystanders into it. And I'm going to tell you why. If any one of those truckers had gotten involved in that pursuit and something had taken place, any of those, a number of them could have been fired from their job, because trucking companies have policies that they do not get involved in police pursuits. You look at the movies and you see those kind of things happening. Well, guess what? It's not supposed to happen in real life. And that was a mistake that I made. I'm just being honest with you. I didn't know that I couldn't do that. But you never get an innocent bystander involved. That way, if you see a pursuit taking place, just totally stay out of the way and let the officers handle it. When you're coming to an intersection and you're stopped at an intersection, let's say a red light, okay, and you hear sirens coming up behind me. Let's say you see a car blow past you on a red light and then you hear sirens behind you, the best thing that you can do, if it's safe for you to do so, is to pull forward a little bit and move over to let the officer get by. Whether that's moving over to the right, you'll start to see some cars at the intersection start to crowd over to one side, create a little bit of room. And I'm just going to be honest with you. If the officer cannot get around you and is totally blocked, he will get around you somehow or another. Okay, but do not go across that intersection on a red light. It's just not worth it. All right, so the main thing is to be safe. All right, so in conclusion, I just want you to know that police departments do care about the public safety. They really do. And you have to believe that. Now, as officers, sometimes when we are tunnel vision in our pursuits, we don't think like necessarily the department does. And that's only because we're human. But the department does have policies that tells you what you can and what you cannot do. And most times you're going to find that the policies do not include the involvement of innocent bystanders. And now the way that policies are going, police pursuits are gradually, they're moving away from those with the different kind of technologies that they have today so that they don't have to continue those pursuits into dangerous areas. Anyway, I hope that this was some good information for you. I hope it was understandable. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments below. If you have any statements that you want to make, or maybe you just want to give your thoughts to it, put it in the comments below. I would love to read it. All right. Hey, once again, this is Ed. Thank you for joining me here at 12 Reacts, where we're going to talk about a plethora of stuff. Hey, listen, don't run. It's really not worth it. All right. See you all on the next video. All right. Bye-bye.